Hi, how are you? Very happy to be here to talk to you about one of the biggest, if not the biggest, shifts on the way we work. Our partnership with AI agents. So, over the last few years, we've been watching AI evolve from something that we use into something that we collaborate with. It's no longer automation anymore. It's teamwork. And like every good team and partnership, it needs to be built on trust, communication, and an understanding of what each side brings to the table. So, what do we mean by AI agents? Think of them as your teammates, digital teammates. They are capable of observing, deciding, and acting with purpose. They are able to help us on a step-by-step process to complete tasks like business intelligence tasks, data quality monitoring, or even coding. They don't get tired or confused. But on the other hand, they lack creativity, natural problem-solving for intuition that we have as humans, or the empathy. So this is where the synergy starts. We provide the context and guidance, understanding the why behind the data, while AI agents will cooperate with us on the how, boosting both efficiency and scale. When we get this right, we unlock something bigger than each side could do alone. So the big question is, how do we get it right? That's easy. Struggling. The learning process of working with AI agents is a roller coaster of emotions. In 1 minute, you're overwhelmed and you believe that the sky is the limit. In the next minute, you're completely frustrated, screaming at your computer, asking why isn't it giving you what you just asked for. It kind of feels that you're dealing with a really brilliant teenager. With a plus, he won't give you that look like he's about to throw up on you every time you ask for something. So, we can understand that AI agents will accelerate drastically processes, will be able to automate repetitive tasks and free our minds for higher value thinking. But they come and bring new challenges too. How do we trust their decisions? How can we get consistency in the delivery? How prepared are we to change the way we work? These are cultural questions as much as technical. They touch governance, ethics, and our comfort zones as professionals. So, back to the question, how do we get it right? From our perspective and experience working with AI agents, it's critical to understand and have a clear definition of the goal and the boundaries. Humans decide what's critical, especially if it involves judgment, nuance, or empathy, while AI agents will be focused on speed, scale, and compute. Second, consistency is hard to obtain. Here, it was super important to have a clear understanding of what was the optimal number of tasks to attribute to a certain agent without compromising his quality. Making use of a lot of templates and examples and circumscribing the knowledge base of the agent to what was only essential for him to successfully fulfill his tasks helped us a lot in reducing the hallucination level. Third, make collaboration as part of your company culture. At BI4ALL, we are constantly promoting knowledge sharing, learning, and trying to involve everyone in this process. This was crucial for us to understanding how do we change the way we work in things like when we're working with AI agents, the attention to detail and the validation level increases around 20%, while, on the other hand, the implementation effort can reduce 30, 40%, sometimes even more. Now I'd like to share with you, to make all this more tangible, project where we're working side by side. We have a team of consultants working side by side with a team of agents. We call the Cyphersmiths, in a project that it's a lift and shift migration of SAS to Snowflake SQL. So let me walk you through the agent data flow. So we start with the source code file in SAS. Then we call the first agent, the repetition, the source repetition. What this agent is responsible to do is, because we understood what was the threshold of the number of lines a certain agent can migrate without compromising the quality, this agent will be focused on looking at the code and understanding what is the size of this code. If it passes the threshold, he will partition the code in logical patterns. Because we can't just break a code in a certain line, because we might compromise the output. So it needs to be in logical patterns, and he needs to be sure that it won't affect the final outcome. Then we call the code migrator, and this is here where the migration starts. Code migrator will do the lift and shift migration. So we'll look at the source code and deliver the target code file and migrate it. Then we have the code inspector. The code inspector, what it's going to do, it will serve as an LLM as a judge. Very important to have along these processes. He will evaluate if the migration was successfully done. He will retrieve the code inspection report. So we, humans, along with the inspection report that the code migrator provided, can decide, is it everything all right or not? Imagine it's not. Okay, we will call the migration fixer. The migration fixer will look at the target code file, will look at the source code file, will read the code inspection report, and act according to the code inspection report, and do the necessary changes that need to be done. And he will deliver a fixed target code file. Finally, we have the code-wise. The code-wise only function is to look at the fixed target code and implement the best practices for this language. Okay? So, because as I previously said, we have the migration mapper that will help us a lot on the part of the validation that increases around 20%. So in order to try to reduce this, the migration mapper will provide the migration report map that it's basically a roadmap between what the source code has and the target code has. So it can ease the pain of doing the validation of all the target codes migrated and understanding what was migrated and not, and doing the testing that it needs to be done along all this process. Now I'd like to share with you a clip with the team that is actually collaborating with the team of agents. And so you can hear firsthand their testimonials about this synergy.
And one thing I found the most useful, we can say to an agent, output like in this format, and he keeps learning. He keeps learning while we work. So the first scripts were an experience, and then we got better.
In my opinion and in my day-to-day work, one of the advantages is that the agents are already aware of the context of the project I'm working on and of the migration. So instead of having to search for code equivalences from one language to the other, or even having to explain this context to a generic AI tool, I can simply rely on this specialized assistant that already knows the context of my project.
I'd say that time efficiency is for sure the thing that I would advocate the most about them. not only in terms of the complexity of the problems that they can solve, but mainly the volume of work that we are able to deliver, comparing to a timeline where we wouldn't have these agents.
Not everything was perfect done by the agents. We weren't expecting that. And it didn't replace actually the person after the migration. So after the migration, we had a very swift migration, but sometimes we need to make it a little bit better. That's why the human in the middle, I think it's still an essential part.
Obviously, the agents are not perfect, and they tend to struggle a little bit with bigger pieces of code or with more complex logics. And I still need to go through them and adjust by hand.
Find the right balance between seeking for improvements and actually being satisfied with the agent itself.
After a lot of scripts to migrate, people tend to unfocus, and it will be a pain.
I think it would be very difficult to do the same project within the same time frame without the agents, because a lot of the tasks and a lot of the research would take much longer, because it would have to be done completely manually and without this assistance.
Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for having me.